What is up, and welcome back to the Tomahawk Talk podcast. As always, I am your host, Jeb Mays. With me, as always, I have Ryan, and we have a special guest, Mr. Ken Anderson. Ken, how are you doing today?
I'm good, guys. How about y'all?
Good.
Good. Got to
So,
win tonight, so got to be happy. Got to
yeah,
Yes,
win
we got
Sunday.
one.
Yeah. We got one.
it. I'm, I'm still frustrated. It
Yeah.
didn't suit my mood.
Well, the thing is, the Glaciers, goes out there and Harris takes back a two-run home run. It's
Yeah.
going to be hard to make the playoffs. We don't have a closer, guys.
Yeah. So I reached out to you because you posted on the old Twitter app that you wish a podcaster would address the real issues with the Braves organization. Um, Pretty much paraphrasing that, but if you want to dig into that, I mean, I'm sure all of us would be all ears.
Okay, well, been a season ticket holder. Took him over from my grandfather. Literally, he was from the beginning of season ticket holders. I've kind of had them for like 36 years. When I got out of college, he kind of let me have them.
Wow.
And so I know a lot of people around the Braves. In our section, we had back-to-back 4 o'clock games, which is very unusual. Very unusual. If you look back at our schedule, that very rarely happens. But it happened this time, this weekend. So on Sunday, we had a bunch of season ticket holders hanging around for about 2 hours. They had a big kids' day, so a lot of grown-up season ticket holders. We were talking, and we were all sharing our frustration. So, we hear a lot of things on the board. A lot of them very true. Um, from AA's lack of trading, getting players, net managing strangely, I guess is the word. He, you know, uh, maybe sometimes it looks like a lackluster effort. It doesn't look like they're energized. They do look more energized with Ronnie back. I think he does bring that. We saw it in the dugout this weekend. It looks better this week. Ozzy already looks back to himself. But the problem that we're seeing is we saw it go on in the 2010s. After we'd had our long run, we'd won a World Series, won a long run, 14 division championships, and then we saw this thing before Liberty Media got us and of streamlining. And so what happened was that they've always been good as season ticket holders, but after we won the World Championship in 21, we started seeing streamline. What I mean by that is stuff getting cut back. Things that we always had a season ticket we could ask for, they're not there anymore. I always bring up this. It's easy for a fan to understand this. It's amazing that most MLB teams, when they have a giveaway, give away 40,000. Y'all see that? Giving away 40,000. We're giving away everybody in the ballpark gets a ball head. Everybody in the ballpark gets a jersey. Braves is 15,000. We used to be that way. Even when we stunk, we had bat nights. Everybody got a bat, not just the kids, the adults, everybody. So that's been cut back. The other thing that's happened is most people know we've had two huge price increases on our season ticket. 22% this year was 25%.
Yep.
And what we have noticed is we're getting less benefit. One of the big things that's come down the pack used to be we could sell our tickets. They were pretty lenient on that. You know, they didn't really kind of bark at us too much. If you had to get on a third party, a lot of times we know people. They can't follow that. So if I sell Ryan a ticket or sell you Jeb a ticket, they don't know. I give you the tickets, you give me cash. They don't know. But third party, they can. Our feeling is they follow third party is because they want us to turn the tickets back in so they can maybe make a
So,
double take on it. Yeah, they won't. Yeah, they won't say that, of course, but we don't know where the tickets go, you know, and they're being harder and harder on us. Threatening letters saying they're going to revoke our season tickets. They have a huge waiting list. We know that.
wow.
And, the battery makes some ton of money. We already know about the big complex they're putting up. So there are a lot of things. Well, with the All-Star tickets, just a week and a half ago, they offered us extra strips. Well, people started calling in and get the extra strips. They said there was no way we could resell them. None. Now, why would you care? Why would you care? They're my tickets. If I can resell them, because here's the problem: how do I know for sure I'm going to be able to go on July 15th? I don't know how my health's going to be. I don't know how my family's going to be. Things come up. You mean you're not going to allow them? Those are the frustrating things we're seeing. We're also seeing less personnel in the stadium.
Wow.
As far as ushers and regarding stuff, they'll go innings in our section. Our ushers do a great job. Everybody works hard in that stadium. They work hard. You just see less. You know what I'm saying? And we'll have stadium employees say, I've got to cover this whole section tonight because we only have one of us here, two of us here. We're talking about 300, 400 section, whatever, big sections. So why would you streamline? And yet, though, you keep showing you're making profit. We know the battery's turning into a fist. We think we're going to be up for sale. We think, like any other good company would do, you streamline everything back to make it look like a good, profitable company to sell at a marketable value. We know that in 2026, we might have a lockout. What a good time for Liberty Media to get at it. We think, so when you're yelling at AA and you're yelling at SNET and you're yelling at this, we think it's above that. We think it used to be, I always felt like Derek gave AA the go ahead to do almost any deal. I don't know if a lot of people know this. I think Ryan, if you remember, we went to the David Robertson thing, and I think me and you were talking about it. It's like, why did $2 million there really? Now look, he might not have worked out, but that's also a concern when these like marginal pieces are becoming big things, and we want to sign people, like Verdugo. I mean, he is what he is. There's a reason why the Yankees didn't make him an offer.
Yep.
He could have been a fourth outfielder for them, And it's nothing against Alex. He's a major leaguer, but he's not a great man. He's not a starter, in my opinion. And it's all these marginal things. And so that's when I say on the board, y'all yelling at the wrong thing. The thing is I think, and so if you got an organization doesn't let you spend, and AA tries to kind of hint around a little bit, I think. He doesn't ever really tell us the truth. But like last week or the week before on 680 The Fan, in 92, he was saying, if we get people a trade deadline, we only have to pay them a third their salary. Well, why the hell you care if you're making all this money? Because he'll say he doesn't have a budget, but doesn't it sound like it's a budget, guys?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's a lot going on behind the scenes, and I just don't see a lot for us to do. We need this group to step up and play above its head. And I don't know where the extra pieces are going to come from. I really don't.
I know we've been pretty big advocates on we're pro AA. We've been pro SNIT the whole way, and we knew going into the year kind of like this was above AA.
Yeah.
There has been some questionable moves that he's done that you could theoretically say, why didn't you allocate this money here?
Mm-hmm.
Because say you signed. I mean, I don't want to say Verdugo because I believe he knew what happened with Profar, but Verdugo and all these other relievers, and why didn't you sign this one reliever, who's really good? And for Snid, I mean, Snid's, been here for, 40 years. He's been through the whole minor league grind. He's brought us a world championship, but I mean, this year more than ever has been one of the biggest eye openers for some just decision making stuff, more bullpen wise. But it is very off. It just feels very weird. It does not feel good to sit down and watch this team.
You can
Well, I'm
just
gonna tell you somebody as
you can just tell
a former
something's
pitching
off.
coach, Ryan. Yeah, a former pitching coach. I make better decisions than Brian does. I have times when he does stuff I don't know what he's doing. That was what our strength was, knowing who to go to, when to go to. It's never really been a strength of his. But me personally, somebody asked me in the stands. I think it was might have been the National Series where I got to go before I started going on treatment. We went, I was there every game. My personal feeling is watching him coach for this long, I think he's burnt out.
Yes.
And that happens. That happened to me. Matter of fact, I took a school at Boy Buchanan, had never been to a state fling. That's how they do their state championship in Tennessee. We went 3 straight years. I lost in the state semifinals. We should have won. We probably should have been the best team. I come out fired up, I'm going to get there. I'm going to take this team win a state championship because I did it in Georgia. I'm going to do it here. I'm on the ball field, and I'm like, what the hell am I out here for?
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out
Yeah.
why, but I was burnt out, and I think that's what we see in Snit. I think he's burnt out.
Not to mention, not only with the baseball stuff on the field, you got to deal with the reporters, you got to deal with the guys in the clubhouse, you got to deal with the front office, and you got the political bullshit behind the scenes that is affecting your job, and you can't do it the way you probably want to do it. So I get it.
Mm-hmm. I think Profar might have really been a big blow to him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really do. I think Profar was a big. I mean, I think he was kind of excited to get Profar, kind of maybe take another run at it. I do know that being, he even says in interviews 50 years is something he thinks about, but I don't see him being here after this year. And I hope it's a mutual agreement between both parties.
Yeah.
They find some way to make him a consultant, bring him, and because, I hear from certain people that, I hear it on the boards and that David Ross would be a very interesting candidate for us. He was successful.
Yes.
That's who I have been saying. I've been saying Ross or D-Row, but
Yeah.
I don't think D-Row would be welcome here after the comment he made.
Yeah, he hasn't made some good comments in the last few weeks, that's for sure.
But
And I think when it's go ahead.
I was just saying, me and Ryan have spoke about it, and I brought up Rossi, and I was like, that would be a very, very good fit.
I would
believe.
think Chipper would ask for that, don't y'all? I mean, I
Yeah.
think Chipper and David are friends. So I would think he
Yeah.
would want him. So, and he was good in Chicago. I think he would be what we would need. I think he could also put a staff together pretty quick, and not to try. And I hope Snit goes out well. Hopefully, we'll recover here. I think tonight was a big win for him. They got to build on it. What we have seen in this team do is build on stuff. You see a win like this, and they don't build on it. So
Correct.
I don't know. We'll play this weekend.
You get a little bit
One
of momentum, and they just can't carry it over into the next day.
Nope.
It's just like they come out flat every day.
Yeah. And you know what thing? Have y'all noticed this? Being where I'm at, my season ticket I think I told you, is right next to the press box. So I know Bo. I know D.O.B. I know Justin. I know Kevin McCall. All of them, they seem a little more frustrated this year,
Yes.
too.
Yes.
You know how hard it is to irritate the Atlanta Braves beat writers?
Amen.
It is hard as shit to get those guys irritated, but they have been fucking, just about every game they're complaining about something, and I'm like, you don't ever see these guys complain. Ever.
No.
Yeah, and of course they've got to hear it from the fans too. I'm bad for it.
Yeah, but
I'm
they
bad.
deal with us all the time. I think it's the behind the scenes shit that they got to deal with now. That's like, and they can't say anything about it. Because then guess what?
I agree, and I think they know probably more than they're letting on.
Have to.
Especially Bo. Bo's been around this forever. I think that's why you're getting a lot more out of Bo now. It's just some of the comments he made. It's like, he usually normally doesn't say stuff. Even I think he put a tweet out tonight. He made a kind of funny tweet, whatever, and he said this is kind of unusual. What it was, and I thought he even takes shots in his tweets that sound good. Like Bo is, maybe Bo's still frustrated, but I think he just feels like that, maybe they're not telling the whole story, or he knows more and he can't say it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's and here's the thing I ask y'all. I wanted to ask y'all, where do you go? How do you make this team better? I mean, Ryan puts us to that pretty good. You could maybe make a big splash and send one of the players you've bought for all these years. But then that means you're definitely going to probably rebuild. And then who do we trade out of our system to get somebody to?
Yeah.
You don't have enough in the system.
And one of your big pieces is probably going to be out a year now.
Yeah.
And I don't even understand that today. I wanted to hit dialogue, and I told everybody I was going to try to find out some stuff, so don't ask me who it's from. But I sent a couple things in between games. What it sounds like is, yes, Strider come down because Eddie Perez started in Spanish saying, why is he shaking his arm? Why is he shaking his arm? which Strider understood. Strider looked at it. I see the video too. I don't see Snit asking Strider anything. I see Strider coming down yelling at Cranny. If you just see Cranny's in the,
No.
he's probably down there. He got hit. He got hit on the pitch before. He is probably talking to the bullpen. Let's have somebody up. Blah blah blah. But you see Cranny all of a sudden jump up, and then that's when Snit and Weiss start moving.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it was Eddie Strider coming down yelling at Cranny. Cranny coming up and saying, "Hey, like, old man, you see what's going on out here? This kid's shaking his arm." You know, and that's a bad look.
It's just
It's a bad look. Yeah. So,
And it not to harp on it too much, but kind of the whole Kelnick thing too.
Yeah.
And I think it ties into the whole burnout kind of thing, you know.
oh yeah, I think so too. I think if this happened, Kelnick thing happened a couple
2-3
years ago, his ass was joined a bit.
Yeah.
He's coming off the field right then.
Yep.
Yeah.
So another thing that we've kind of harped on is we don't think that there's like the 2018 Chris Sale yelling in the dugout. You know, we don't think there's any of that in the clubhouse. Like we think it's just a bunch of nice guys. You know, there's nobody with edge.
That's not really. That's not. I don't think that's the part that I don't necessarily agree with. I think that, but what I don't think they have is somebody that does it in the dugout.
Yeah.
I know in the clubhouse, we hear stuff. We hear stuff from the stadium staff and whatever. There is some moments. There are even moments where they get into it in the tunnel and stuff, and things like that. But where is it on the field?
Yeah.
I don't see it on the field. The part I don't see. I coached all those years, and in the years that we were really successful, we had an antagonist on the bench.
Yep.
He knew how to light the fire. He knew the right things to say. He was probably a smart ass,
No
but
doubt.
that's okay, and it gets people focused, like, and that's the reason I said where I notice is that Ronnie comes back. As soon as he comes back, Ozzy starts taking off. Because you got Ronnie sitting there, boom, 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 boom. Well, the one thing that we've done, and I definitely don't think it was on purpose, is that whole Hispanic group that was down in the Latino group was down in the back there. They had fun and whatever. We've kind of broke that up. You think about it, we've broke them up a little bit. Now, some of it's from their own play, but I think Ozzy's feeding off that. And the fact of the matter is I've actually known, I don't mind telling y'all, I've known Matt. He played with my son, travel ball. This is Matt Olson. People get mad at Matt Olson. I'm like, I've seen this since 10. I've seen him go 0 for 8 with 5 strikeouts on a Saturday. And on Sunday, we get day 2, and he's hitting 4 home runs, 2 doubles. This is Matt Olson. And he goes through streaks like this. But he's not going to throw anything. He's not going to – he'll show a little emotion. I don't know if you've seen today when they called the strike 3 on Eli. You saw him spin around and roll his eyes and do it. That's him really being upset. But where's the guy? I don't know if y'all know y'all are younger, but Terry Pendleton one time walked off the field because Marvin Freeman did not throw it. The pitcher that had hit one of the Braves walked off the field. Where's his shit in the team? Who do you even imagine would do this on this team? There's nobody on this team that would do it.
No.
None. So that's, to me, is the problem. They don't have somebody. They need somebody on the field that is. And I think if Michael could get to hitting, he would help. Michael's kind of a trash talker a little bit. We've seen him play, and I like all that stuff he does. I think they feed off of it. So we need Michael to hit. I love the article that somebody put out there. We was reading on it and whatever. But he's got to have an understanding of the strike zone. He swings a lot of pitches. They're not strikes. He takes a lot of pitches down the middle. But I think it'll come. I thought he had a little bit better day-to-day. But, again, we keep saying that. And then where's it build on? Yeah. Where's it come Friday night?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ryan just put one out. I'll have to send it to you. It's a pretty good read. He's into breaking down swings and stuff when guys are struggling.
I think I read that. Is that the one I read today that really broke his swing down about the arch and stuff? Yeah, and I think sometimes, Ryan, that it gets into when you don't understand the strike zone, then you start tinkering with your body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you think, well, I missed that pitch, but you're not saying you didn't realize that pitch was 4 inches outside. You shouldn't even swung at it. But now
Yeah.
you're tinkering, and to me, it's a lot of tinkering. I think if he can never get back to hit, he's one of those two. If he gets hot, he'll
Oh
take off.
man. Yeah. We
Yeah,
saw it
and
in 23. Was it 23
yep,
or 22?
Shoot, even last year at the end of 24 when he got red
Yeah.
hot. So he was a big
they got
reason why we
red
made
hot.
the playoffs.
Yeah, he was. You know, and you see it in his defense. That's why he's making better and better catches now. I mean, he's feeling it now. He don't think there's a ball he can't get to.
No.
And I mean, you know, and so, but yeah, I don't know where the spark's going to come from. You know, because you know what, to be honest with you, Freddie and Matt have became the same personality on the bench. Austin
Yep.
is Austin. So, but there is no Dansby. Remember how Dansby used to run out? Dansby's a marginal average. They got lucky with a $28 million contract. Nobody should have ever paid him. But look how even the Cubs, he's running out on the field. He's fired up. He gets them going. He talks trash. You know, I tell this all the time. For a Christian guy, he can talk some of the best trash you ever heard in your life. It's the cleanest trash you ever heard, but it's trash, you know. And so, but I don't know where that's coming from on this team.
And we had Grant on our pod right before the season started, and not to shit on Grant or anything, but he's a great dude, but he kind of falls into that category too, where it's just like he's just a soft-spoken guy. I mean, I'd hate to get in the box against him because he's got the right mindset from what we heard. You know, he's just trying to get you out any way he can, but from on the field, it kind of looks like the same thing too.
Yeah, I think he's kind of probably a quiet guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really do. I think the only ones they got like that are kind of fiery or stale. I think Schwellenbach's got a little bit of it in him.
Yeah.
You know, he gave up the home run. It was a good pitch. He was right. The guy that's red hot for the Padres, his name just went out. Sheets hit the home run on a slider. It was about 3 inches off the ground. So I made a good pitch. You know, and then I think Dob asked him in the thing, "You think you throw too many strikes?" He said, "That's the reason I'm good."
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I like that shit. I mean, like, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and I think he's got a little bit in him. You know, I think Spencer's got a little bit in him.
Yeah.
Spencer's not a yeller, but he's got a little bit in him. So the one thing I don't worry about is really our starting pitching. I mean,
That's the
I think
one
we can pitch
constant.
with about anybody, you know. But that bullpen is shit, dude.
I'm not thrilled with the bullpen.
I mean,
Not thrilled with the bullpen. They throw way too many non-competitive pitches.
yeah. It makes it easy to take.
Makes
It just makes it easy to take. And the Phillies are the worst team. They're going to make you throw pitches. I saw a stat somebody threw. I don't know if y'all saw it, where the Phillies see like an amazing amount, like 5 point something pitches in it. That's ridiculous how many pitches.
Yes.
Them and the Dodgers see so many pitches. You're going to have to throw them a strike. And you found out like today with Schwarber, if you don't get it where you're supposed to get it, they crush it.
Yeah.
You know?
That I bet
And-
really pissed me off with Pierce Johnson.
Oh.
He was,
And that's why you can't trust Pierce.
He was sitting all over the breaking ball. He threw 96 right down the middle, and Schwarber took it. When have you ever seen Schwarber take a 96-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle unless he wasn't looking for the breaking ball?
Huh?
That irritated me.
And look at it. They know that it's almost like they out-scout us too. You know, you notice that, you know, like I get frustrated with, I don't know if it's our pitchers going to it or Murph's calling a lot of it, but the slider. I tell you, you keep throwing that slider up there, I'm going to time one of them.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be slider. I did that on a bat tonight. You know, and I'm like, stop calling the slider. This afternoon, I said, stop calling the slider. You know, and it just, I don't know, it's just weird. But there's nobody in the bullpen. There's nobody in the bullpen that when they come in, I'm not scared we're going to give up a run. Nobody.
I
Not
agree.
one pitcher.
I agree, and that's the unfortunate truth.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
And so, not to make excuses for Snit, but I think that also throws you off. Like I said, as a coach, I do think though he makes weird decisions. Like what was the loss where we had Montero? Who was it? Montero. Was that
And
loss
De
we
Los
lost?
Santos.
Santos. It was
It
weird how
was
we picked them.
yeah, it
Which
was De
one?
Los Santos. And it was in Boston. It was in Boston.
Oh, that
Yeah,
one or the
that was
one in
wrong.
Washington?
The one in Washington was pretty bad too. Like, what are we doing? I mean,
Yeah.
just like, you know. Now, look, I will say this here, and maybe y'all bring it up, and I just haven't seen it. A lot who pitches that day is you go out there and you throw every day before the game, and there are guys that will say, "I had guys do it to me. Coach, my arm's sore. I can't go today. You hadn't pitched in 2 days. What's going on? I just can't go today, coach." Now, so I don't know. I like to really know. That's the reason I'm always saying I can't completely throw because I don't know what's going on. But I do know it's weird decisions, and I think there's a way to also make people say, "I don't care if your arm's sore or not, you're going out here and throwing today."
Yeah.
You know,
Because I mean,
and go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say you never know what adrenaline can do.
Hmm. I mean, the Pearson kid was throwing 99 today. He's jacked. He was trying to make a major league club today. I like it. He got kind of unlucky. I mean, Castellanos hit a ball at his head high, and the other two were bloop hits.
Yep.
Like, man, I kind of liked his stuff today. And I keep telling one of the guys on the Twitter, Jason Reese, I talked to him, and Jason hates Dylan Dodd. And I said, all I'm hearing from people is this stuff has got to be nasty out of that bullpen. And he looked good today. Like, why are we not giving him a shot? I mean, I know we got a lot of left-handers. That's probably part of the reason, but I'd rather see him come out there and throw than Montero.
100%.
I mean,
100%.
And they've got some. I'd rather look, if we're going to go down in flames this year and not make the playoffs, let's get some of the kids up here and see if we do have some bullpen arms.
Like the one kid
I
throwing
mean-
102 down on AAA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. And then and then let me ask you something here. What do we do tonight if Nick Allen's hands broke? What do we do?
We're screwed at shortstop. Unless you're going to move Eli White there to short and rely on that and then put Verdugo in the outfield again. That's about it. Because you can't rely on Luke Williams to be your everyday shortstop. You just can't.
No.
Tim Anderson.
That's not even funny at this point in time.
And that's the kind of shit we've been signing now.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I want people to understand right now, I'm not upset that Orlando Arcia was DFA'd. I'm going to go ahead and keep that out there. I would not revoke that decision, even knowing that Nick Allen's hand would be broken in like 3 days. Wouldn't revoke it.
no, me neither. I was done with him. I said it at the end of last year. I said I don't want to see him play again. I don't want him to be on my team. He seems like a great guy, nice guy.
Yep.
He can't help us. And I've said that before. Like I said, I was pitching coach all those years, and I'd tell the head coach, and I said, "What are you doing? He can't help us." Oh, I think no, he can't. I can get him out. That's how I look at it. If I can sit there and call a game and get you out, then you shouldn't be in the lineup. Now, if I say, "Look, there's some spots I can't get you out," then you should be in the lineup. I always pride myself on scouting, whatever. It's so easy to get, and that's the reason why I want to go back to Michael. Dylan Cease knew it. That's why he threw 4 balls in the dirt. He knows Michael doesn't understand the strike zone. So he didn't have to even give me any competitive pitches in that game Sunday. That was a big bat too. And he strikes out. He never threw the ball anywhere. His last one hit in front of the plate. See, that's what I'm saying is like when you're a pitch, and that's what drives me crazy about some of the pitch calling and their game planning. You should be able to look at a batter and know how to get a batter out.
Yes.
Now, if they hit a good pitch like Sheets did, you give them credit. You just shake their hand and say, "Hey, good job." But like Ryan's saying, not having any competitive pitches, what are we doing? You know where to get guys out. And you ever watch a game on GameCast? They even tell you where to get guys out. The computer will even tell you, they're light blue right here. Go throw it right there. They can't hit it.
Hell, I mean, I get even if it's outside and like they're terrible against the slider. Like you said, eventually if you keep throwing the damn slider, big league hitters good enough to make a damn adjustment to bloop one in the right field, or if you hang it, they're gonna not miss it. And what is I don't. This is my big thing with the pitchers is we don't pitch inside enough, in my opinion. Sale did a great job of pitching inside. Schwellenbach does a good job of pitching inside, but a lot of the young guys when they come up, they live on the outside part of the plate. Or the bullpen guys when they come in, they live on the outside part of the plate. And there's only so much. Like it's gonna be a whole lot easier for a big league hitter to recognize fastball, slider continuously on the outside part if they don't have to worry about you busting them inside because they can just hang out over the plate. I don't understand why we don't pitch inside more.
I don't either. I got really lucky in the fact that during my coaching, I ran into Leo Mazzoni and at a camp, and Leo talked about that. And what he said was, and go back and look at film. Everybody wants to talk about Greg Maddux and his pinpoint control on the outside, but look at all the cutters on the inside where he throws it right at the batter's hip, and he comes right and they give up on it. We don't throw that pitch anymore, and I learned that that's the pitch you can throw. If you'll throw it right at him, and how do they get Matt Olson out? They throw the ball at Matt Olson and jam him up in there. They get him jammed up in. Austin Riley. Even Azuna now, breaking bats. Yeah, I mean, that's where you get them. Do we do that? That's how you know we're not throwing enough inside. 100%. We don't break bats. The other team does.
100%.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Very frustrating. Yeah, I don't know why we're not throwing inside. I don't know why, like, in situations, this drives me crazy. Our hitters, guys struggling, throwing strikes. I know he's liable to groove one down the middle. You got to be ready. But why are we swinging at a pitch when we went back-to-back walks? Go back and look at how many times guys go back-to-back walks on this and somebody hits the first pitch either into a double play or pops it up or some lazy-ass fly ball, and now you got 2 outs or 1 out.
Yep.
And you're like, what is going on here?
Yep.
Do you not see the guy that can't throw strikes? What do the Phillies do today? How do they win the game? This guy can't throw strikes. Don't swing, boys.
Yep.
Don't swing. We can win this ball game, but it's not swinging. You know?
Do you remember, I believe it was opening day when I think it was Profar, Baldwin, and somebody else. They saw like a combined like 50 pitches.
It was those two.
Or something alone. Crazy. Why have they leaned away from that approach?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that is who brought it up on. I think it was on MLB Now. That's where you see panic set in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's where you see pressing set in. And I think even to Snit's credit, I think he said it one time in the thing, he said, it's not because we're not working hard. Maybe it's because we're thinking too hard or whatever. However he said it was a weird way. I think he's trying to say like they get up in there and they want to be the man. They want to be the man. Sometimes being the man is just
taking your base.
You know,
taking a walk.
Fouling a pitch off, you know, a tough pitch, try to make, have a bat that's competitive. We have so many at bats sometimes it's not competitive, and it's very frustrating because all the teams that are really good offensively in MLB, college, start regional, this tomorrow, high school, they have competitive at bats. And we have a lot of times in games we don't have competitive at bats. I don't know how many sometimes 6-pitch innings we give the other team. Only a 6-pitch inning. What are we doing?
I'm telling you.
Give me that. I mean, it's just crazy. It's frustrating. Me personally, I was a Seitzer. I like Seitzer.
Yeah.
I think he kind of let everybody know last year when Dan Eagles, he says, I think he said they would be all right, but a lot of it's between the ears. Remember that
100%.
quote from last year?
100%.
And I don't know why we fired him, other than
somebody had to wear it.
Somebody had to wear it, and I don't know if Hires knows what he's doing. Now, Chipper has the kind of same philosophy, but I say this all the time. I took over at Boyd Buchanan. We moved up there. I got asked to come to Boyd Buchanan to help their program. They had struggled. The pitching coach I took over for is a guy named Clay Parker. Pull him up, boys. New York Yankee, pitched in the major league. he can pitch and knows more about pitching than I ever will. But what I could do is I could relate it and transfer and communicate it. He couldn't. He could not get them. How many times you've heard sometimes great players make terrible coaches because they don't know how to teach
Relay
it?
Yep.
Hires might have Chipper's approach, but whatever it is, it's not. He's not being able to relate it. Now, look, I'm not going to throw a guy under the bus 2 months and say he can't work out. I would never do that. But I think he knows he's got work to do.
Yeah.
Because there's no way. I mean, who was it that told Michael to put his hands the way he did? Feitzer. Watched him swing one time and said, once you adjust your hands. And he didn't want him to do it like immediately. He did it immediately and took off and got him a big contract because of it.
Yep.
I think some of Michael's.
Acuna, too.
Acuna is. I think they're searching because Seitzer was a good hitting coach. Look what Seattle's numbers are this year.
Yeah.
Guys,
Top 5 MLB
we fired
offense.
the wrong coach.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said top 5 MLB offense is what Seattle is right now.
Yeah. We fired the wrong coach, guys. That guy should have stayed. And that's one thing. There's another thing I wanted to talk about tonight. Nobody mentions it on the board like that. Everybody wants coaches fired. They want to be fired. We won the state championship. This is a true story. We won the state championship in 2000. And next year we go 500. First of all, we graduated everybody. We thought we did pretty good by going a little over 500 and making the playoffs as a 4 seed out of our region. We get back and we have a meeting and they're talking about we're going to fire us. What? We didn't forget how to coach. We just didn't have, what's going on. So everybody wants to do that. But nobody ever says that maybe we made a mistake by firing somebody. I think we made a mistake by firing Kevin Seitzer. I really do. Because there's no way he was telling him to swing for the fences. You don't think he wasn't telling him doing Chipper? 2 strikes, guys. Put the ball in play.
Yeah.
Go the other way with it. And some of them are really good hitters going the other way. What does Chipper say about Austin Riley all the time? When he's right, he hits the ball to right center.
Yep.
When Olson's right, he hits the ball to left center. I mean, Chipper, Fred, all of them, great hitters can hit the ball the other way. So 2 strikes, you should be able to hit the ball the other way. And I just, but like I said, it's 2 months into it. I'm not going to throw Hires under the bus, but it's interesting that last year I think was a health issue for us, not having continuity into our lineup. That's not been the reason this year.
Nope.
And
Even until Acuna has came back, you've still had a healthy Riley, you still had Olson, you've still had Ozuna, you've still had Ozzy.
You had all the dudes who were injured last year besides Ronald.
Yep.
Everybody.
So that's something that's got to be, addressed. I will say this here, that CJ brought it up tonight. We have had a tougher schedule. We can't always keep saying that, but we had a tougher schedule than the Phillies. Phillies are a great team. I think if they played a tough schedule, they would have still a pretty good record. But, the fact of the matter is we already have played our games against the Dodgers and Padres.
Yep.
Okay? We've already had to play, the Phillies twice already. We've already had, we've had games that are fairly difficult in series. Looking back on the Cardinals, we actually beat a pretty good team. It looks like the Cardinals are going to be decent at least over 500. Arizona, I don't know what's going on with Arizona. They're another funny team. What's going on? They're one of those teams that you get off the bus. They used to get off the bus at our high school. We'd be like, oh, shit, we're in trouble. And then they start playing and go, these guys, they don't want to win. we can beat these. And
like us.
So, yeah, it's like us. We look great getting off the bus. And but I looked at the June schedule. I was talking about the gauntlet, but you got Boston and Arizona, both are struggling. I think I tweeted this out today. You got to go 5-1 on this homestand.
Yeah.
You have to go 5-1 on this homestand. Okay, I mean you got to sweep one of them. They're right for the picking. this bullshit where teams coming in on a 5-game losing streak, 6-game losing streak, and they go get hot. I'm getting tired of that.
100%.
Let's
100%.
make it a 9-game losing streak. Let's add on to it.
Yep.
Who's it been? The Nationals, the Pirates, the
I believe
Padres.
the
Now here
Padres.
come the
Yeah.
Red Sox. And so go 5-1. You got the Rockies for 3, and the Marlins for 3 on weekends. You got to go 5-1 in those.
Yep.
That's 10-2 right there. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you do have Milwaukee. Yeah, you do have the Mets. Yeah, you do have Philadelphia. But you got 10-2 right there. Those are the 13 games. Even if you go 6-7, have a losing record, that's 16-9. That gets you back over 500. That gets you going into July in good shape.
Yep.
Get you closer to the trade deadline. Maybe we can pick up some bullpen pieces because I 100% think that's what they keep saving the money for. Somebody's going to come available. Now, of course, today Diaz goes out to L.A. I don't know how LA keeps doing this to people, but they give up nothing for him, too. I don't even understand what they're doing. I mean, I don't know what Cincinnati's doing, but whatever. But you pick up bullpen pieces, maybe you get back in. But, again, nothing about this team makes me think they're going to sweep the Rockies. They're going to take two out of 3. They're going to go 5-1 or something. Nothing about this team makes – except in the past, we have had these starts and we have recovered. June's been our month. So if I'm AA and we don't have a good June, to me, that's a sign to sell.
Yes.
Yep.
Because it's not coming this year.
Nope.
Because we've always sparked in June. And, people say, well, how about 2021? Well, 2021 is a different thing. We didn't really have the team. But as soon as we put our team on the field in August, we took off.
Yep.
We have our team on the field now.
Yeah.
You have to go win. And if not, and I think those pieces would be, I think somebody would take a flyer on Iglesias. You cut that payroll out. I think somebody definitely would take Ozuna
Oh,
for the end
yeah.
of the year.
Oh, for sure.
100%. He could help. He could help so many teams. I mean, so many things. Put Ozuna DH. I mean, there'd be so many teams he could, help. I don't like somebody put out today. I don't know if maybe y'all did or something. I don't know about Sale. I don't know if I would do Sale because I think Sale helps our young pitchers.
Yeah.
Let him just finish coaches our young pitchers. I wouldn't want to try to sell, Sale. But I don't know who else you do. But that's definitely that. What is that? Iglesias and Ozuna's like 30-something million. So
Yeah, and then you can sell off some of the bullpen pieces too if you really wanted to.
Oh God, yeah, any of them. Anybody y'all want?
Johnson, Bummer.
Yep, Johnson,
Somebody
Bummer,
take 'em.
Lacey. Yeah, I mean, I love the kid, but I'm not beyond. If we could get some good players back for our system, selling Dylan Lee, if we were selling,
Yeah.
Dylan Lee will bring you somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I think June's very important because look at July. Everybody cares about June. How about July? We're going to get San Francisco. We're going to get the Yankees. I mean, we got to go to Oakland. We got to go to St. Louis. That's a weird road trip. That's a tough road trip when you go out west and come. They have the All-Star in between it. So I think you have to have a winning month. I think June has to be, and I count these first 2 games as June. You have to have you have to have a pretty good month here. And if you can get to back over 500 by the time San Francisco gets here in July, okay, you got a shot. I think it's Philadelphia after San Francisco, isn't it? No, it's Baltimore after Philadelphia. It's Baltimore. It's Philadelphia before San Francisco. So, yeah, I think we're up against it, and I'm not saying every other team, but the National League wasn't as strong as it is this year.
Yep.
Everybody wants to keep pointing to, and I have too, well, we've been this way before. Yeah, but the National League wasn't this good. The Cubs are really good. The Phillies are really good.
Yep.
Padres are good. The Dodgers are good. The Giants are actually pretty good. We're the playoff spot. The Mets are good. Where are the playoff spots coming? Where are we going?
Yeah.
Who is it we're beating? So we got to get better. And that bullpen, I just don't see it. I mean, I hope they do, but I just don't see it, that bullpen.
I've got one more question for you, and then I'll see if Ryan's got anything. But
Okay.
I guess depending on how this year goes and whatnot, do you maybe see a regular AA off season in this upcoming off season, where he's able to kind of spend more money and get some bigger guys?
Well, we do have stuff coming on that help. And how much money are we going to make in profit from the All-Star game? We know we're going to make a profit. We're going to make money. Um, does that let Liberty spend it? What are we down from last year? 40 million, Ryan? 50 million, something like that from last year? 40,
Yeah.
50 million? Okay. So you have Azuna, um, Glacius,
It's 30 coming
you have to
off the
make a
books.
decision on them. Yeah. So you're looking at probably 80 million. There's no reason why you can't just go in and go after it and have a strong off season. It's really interesting. Profar is really interesting. I know Braves fans are really pissed at him, and they want to say, "Well, it must be the PEDs." Well, let's wait and see.
That's
Let's wait and see what
yep.
Profar looks like. Because if he comes out and he's actually did fix his swing, you got him for 2 more years to play left field. Your outfield is stacked. Your outfield's good.
And he's not expensive either.
No, no, and we all know. Um, I think the most likely is Baldwin catch 3 or 4 days and Murphy DH. That's what I think next year. I think Murphy would be a great DH. I think he would be. I think he'd be kind of some of the guys that do that, like Cal Rayleigh. Somebody could be a good DH catcher. He could also catch, um, and you could always rotate through it. So if you get a real tough righty, maybe you can find another left-handed stick to go in there. Um, because um, what are most people wanting out of their DH anyhow? Most
Pop.
people want out of their DH is pop,
Yep.
and Murph can give you pop. And maybe if he wouldn't legs behind him, because it seems like every time he starts catching a lot, his offensive numbers start dropping. You notice now Murph this last week started hitting a little bit more because Baldwin's been catching a little bit more. It's like you know I'd like to see, and you'd have different options with that. You can give Ronnie a day off, let him DH. You have options in your DH there, but you got to go get other pieces. One piece that I would like to see, and I put it out there. I don't know what the Rockies would need for Tovar, but I would love to take a run at Tovar from
Oh yeah.
Colorado. They're not going to win the next 4 or 5 years.
That would be the organization to ask for. They
Yeah,
don't know
Yeah.
what the fuck they're doing out there.
no, and they want pitching. They always say they want pitching. Well, we got young arms, develop them, and I, you know, I had people inbox me and say, "That's your pipe dream," and I said, "Well, yeah, we got a dream somewhere." What are they going to do? And the Reds are never really happy with McClain. I don't know why. I love him, and I think they keep his head messed up because of the way they treat him and talk to him. Make a run at him then. Find somebody. I will say this. Um, I can't tell you where, but I do know that AA did make a run at Nico with Horner. I do know that. He made a run, and there was talk back and forth. But that ship has sailed because they went and signed Kelly. I don't know why it's Arizona. I don't know if Arizona's what they're doing. They signed Kelly, and now look at him. Back hitting
Mhm.
over 300, Chicago, catching good. They have a good platoon. But so I think shortstop's what we're going to try to answer. I don't think it's going to be Bo Bichetti at another home run tonight. He's going to get 28, 30 million a year. We're not going to pay a shortstop 28, 30 million a year. That's the other thing too about we have plenty of money. I do think the 22 million is why not over 22 million for anybody? Why does Austin Riley got to be our highest paid player?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a good player, but you keep saying we can go over it. I don't think you can.
We want
I
we
think you
want
bet.
Schwelly.
Yeah. Uh, but I guess one of the beat writers kind of leaked it out that I guess they did try to talk to him about an extension. He turned them down.
Mhm.
I'm sure he doesn't want. He doesn't. That's the only reason why I told my wife, she laughs at me when he kind of has these struggles a little bit. I said, well, maybe that helps us a little bit. Maybe we jump back on in there and say, you sure you don't want the Strider contract?
Yeah.
But yeah, I want Swelly. I wanted him last year. That made it easier for me to let Max Freed go. I said I don't think our starting staff's going to be in. I mean, I love Max, but he's going to get paid a ton, which he did. And I said I don't think we need Max. I was never really worried about the starting pitching like a lot of during the offseason, like a lot of people really were, because I really thought Schwellenbach is a beast. I think, now I didn't know Reynaldo was going to get hurt. If I knew that, I'd want to start in pitcher for sure. You know, that's your closer for next year. Get his ass out of the starting rotation, get him back to where he's throwing 100, and put his ass back in the ninth inning and let him close.
Yeah.
You ain't got to go sign one. You already have one signed.
Yep.
Keeper Iglesias, too. We have a closer for next year, so you can save money. What do you do with Ozzie? What do you do with Ozzie? That could also be your DH too, really. You go find a good second baseman. That Ozzie
That's
DH.
a very good point.
Yeah.
I mean, we all can see this wrist injuries. His throwing was never great. It's getting worse and worse. I mean, he throws like he's almost throwing it underhanded. You notice he kind of, it's weird.
He just doesn't have the range of motion in his shoulder anymore. I don't know.
No.
I know he had an injury like when he was really young, but he just doesn't have the mobility anymore in that shoulder.
We found a good utility infielder. Nick Allen can field his ass off.
Yeah.
Sign him again and let him be a fielding. If you got Tovar to play short, I wouldn't have a problem with Nick playing second and Ozzie DHing next year or something. They got to think out of the box. They got to get things going, and they got to give him help. And somebody asked me in the message about selling. I said it'd be the best thing ever happened to us if they would sell. We need somebody to come in and buy us that wants to, like a Seidler, San Diego, that wants to go for it, just wants to win a championship. And because our fan base will jump all in if they're very competitive.
100%.
And what they say they have, just get a winner on there. Get somebody. That crowd in that Mets series, that 22, when we caught the Mets, that weekend series against the Mets, that was louder than almost any playoff game you could ever have. And all we were doing trying to win a division. That stadium, I know Philly's loud. I've been there. It is loud. They do a good job, but it gets quiet too. This is not how quiet it got. They let them have a bad team up there for a little while. You'll see how quiet it gets in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They have a great team, but we're the same way. Every stadium sounds loud when you're winning. Whose stadium doesn't sound loud when it's winning? It just, our fans will get after it, but you got to get something on the field. It's just, when you go into games and you're like, okay, well, if Riley's in a slump, Nolson's in a slump, gets past the fifth, sixth spot in order, we're not going to score any runs. Here comes the bullpen. It doesn't matter. Were y'all thinking a little bit of the night when that boy gave up the first 2 runs? Oh, shit, we ain't going to blow this game tonight, are we? This is going to be our new way of blowing a game tonight?
No, I wasn't too worried with a 9-1 lead. No,
it wasn't 9-1. It was 8-1. Got 8-2, and then 9-2, and then Iglesias comes in there. Hey, look, that ball goes out in center field. Ryan. It's 9-6.
Yeah, it's 9-6 at that point.
Yeah, it takes Harris. They're talking about the game this afternoon. Harris don't catch that ball against Kepler. We get blown out this afternoon. Our defense has been pretty good other than Austin. Hey, I do want to say that, too, about, what was it, Snit's weird comment about the
grounds crew or
bad
whatever.
hops.
Yeah.
He didn't really throw the grounds crew, but he kind of insinuated whatever. You know what I think he was talking about? 2 things. Is one, you remember early against the National Series where Abrams had such a tough time at shortstop? Everybody wants to point to third base, but remember Abrams had a tough time. And there was one ball hit where he even looked back at the dirt and did like on the Washington Nationals thing, they interview with the manager. Dave Martinez says it's just a hot infield. Chris Domino picked up on 680 The Fan that it was a hot infield. I think the infield is hot in Atlanta a little bit, probably because of the, however they're treating the field or whatever. So they might have been remarking about that. But the other thing is, I just threw it out there. Maybe Snit does miss Wash. maybe Snit misses Wash.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And maybe it's like, maybe I don't know, maybe it's not all him, or how you hear say that. Maybe it's not all on Austin, I don't know if it's all him, whatever, because he seems really affected. Austin, his defenses. I mean, plays that he should not be missing. Balls
No.
hit right at him, and and I know positioning has a lot to do with that. I would sit there and study and try to make sure our kids are in position to get people out where they could catch the ball. Some people want it deep. Some people want it coming in. Some people want it close. And I just think that was another, like I said, I think Snit's burnout, and I think that was another time him just kind of throwing something out there, and I think he had to dig deep. He might have been talking grounds crew. I think he also just misses Wash. I think he misses Wash tremendously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the other thing. So
Ryan, do you have anything?
No, I think he's touched on everything that I could have possibly thought of to ask, to be honest with you.
A lot of information points.
It was good. A lot good stuff that me and you and the other guys kind of, had some feelings about, kind of brought to light a little bit more. And yeah, honestly, if they're gonna sell, I hope they sell. To be honest with you.
yeah, I think the whole thing is what a great time for them to get out if there's going to be a lockout. They're a
Yep.
business. So I think that also leans to it. Like I said, I don't know anything. We were just talking about it, that I think that's where it's headed. And I think that they're streamlined like any good organization would, trying to make sure their P&L statement looks great. They're selling, looks, and get more billions out of it. But, I'll say this to the real positive fans on Twitter. No, I think you're right. I think you still believe they're talented players. If Michael Harris gets going toward the bottom of that lineup, and we start getting some sort of flow to our lineup with our starting pitching, we can get back in this thing.
Yeah.
And hopefully, by getting back in this, they'll allow AA to go spend some money and get relievers.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, I think nothing's going to happen until they can show they can get back in it. Because I don't think there's any way that AEA can walk into the office and tell Terry he wants to pick up this $20 million contract and leave me to see this at 26 and 29. They're just going to laugh him off. I don't believe it. And I know everybody tries to be positive, wants to be a positive Braves fan. Look, I've been a Braves fan my whole life. That's a long time. I've went through 100 lost seasons. I've seen 2 world championships, so many division titles. And sometimes you look at a team and says, well, and it's not as much about us. It's about the rest of the team. The Cubs are good. The Phillies are good. The Mets are good. Dodgers, Padres, Giants. There's only so many playoff spots. We have to get better.
Yep.
But hopefully, stay positive. Hopefully they will. But if they don't have a 5-1 homestand coming up, I think concerns start arising for sure.
Mm-hmm.
My 2 cents.
Well, we appreciate you coming on here, letting out some frustration, shining some light on some stuff. So
Y'all keep up a good job. I enjoy watching y'all.
I appreciate
Alrighty.
that. Thank you.
So.
shout out to Ken for jumping on here with us. That was a very good interview. A lot of stuff that I did not know, and I'm sure Ryan didn't know either. The whole Nico Horner deal, I didn't know that. I'm guessing Sean Murphy might have been discussed, maybe? I don't know. Pretty interesting stuff. Just wanted to come on here and wrap up the Braves and Phillies series. It wasn't exciting. This team makes me want to tie a cinder block to my foot, and I want to just jump at a lake. I mean, the win today was nice, but they have not been playing great baseball. I've pulled up some stats since the Washington series up in Washington. So that's May 20th through now. And so for batting average, they are... Well, it appears I'm having some technical difficulties. They were pretty bad. I mean, Sale pitched his balls off tonight. Sale pitched really, really great. You know, the first game, you lose that one, what was it, 2-0, 2-1. A lot of stuff went wrong in that one. I mean, Strider pitched great in game one. Kind of. I mean, your starting pitching is giving you what it needs. It's just your bullpen is blowing it for you, and your offense is not doing a damn thing to help you out. They put up 8 in the second game today, or in the third game of the doubleheader, I'm sorry. But in the second game, I mean, they were pretty much lackluster and did not want to be there. They gave a finish, I guess, in the last inning when they had the bases loaded, and Eli White took that ball that should have been ball 4 for a strike. I believe he had 2 strikes. That's one of those you've got to protect, in my opinion. It was that close. You probably should have swung, but there were also a lot of check swing calls that probably should have been called too. So I've got these pulled up. So since that Washington series, for batting average, Atlanta is 18th. In hits, they are 29th. In homers, they are 21st. In walks, they are 25th. And in strikeouts, hitting strikeouts, they're 27th. They do have a lot of weak contact that they've been dealing with too. For WRC Plus, they're 23rd right now in this stretch. Which, keep in mind, I mean, in that you have Philly at 8, you have the Mets at 17, you have Washington at 16, and the Marlins are at 15. So they've had a better WRC plus than the Mets and the Nationals. I even looked up some of the hard and soft contact percentages, and Atlanta is 27th in hard contact percentage. So it'd be fair to guess that they were 4th in soft contact percentage. In the game today, with them breaking out 8-0, I mean, Riley goes out there and hits a bomb, which we haven't seen in a while, it feels like. Murphy hits the bomb. Or no? I don't know. I'm getting my fucking games mixed up because this team is fucking atrocious. So yeah. Just wanted to end it there, though. Just wanted to shout out those numbers because they're very eye-popping for how bad the batting has been. But I know it's not just the offense. I mean, the bullpen has been pretty atrocious, too. The starting pitching is giving you what it needs. It's going out there and giving you 5, 6, 7 innings of basically 2-run ball. So, all right, that'll do it. Like I said, special shout out to Ken, and we will be back. I forgot to do the Boston series look ahead. That's my fault. Braves will be taking on the Boston Red Sox coming up the Friday, Saturday, Sunday games. Going for Atlanta tomorrow, which would be Friday, is Grant Holmes versus Giolito. So I'm hoping Atlanta can pounce on Giolito early, like they did in Boston. Hopefully they can actually win that game. Starting the Saturday game will be Spencer Schwellenbach versus Walker Buehler. I will be at the Saturday game, so if you want to find me, I'll be wearing a Tomahawk Talk shirt. Come say what's up. Come throw a beer at me. Do whatever. And then starting Sunday will be Spencer Strider versus Garrett Crochet. That should be a good game, hopefully. Braves will see Crochet for the second time this month. After that, they've got an off day on Monday. which I think would be great for this team. And then they start a 3-game series against the Diamondbacks. So we will be back Sunday night. You'll probably get it Monday morning. So yeah, we will end it right there. Deuces.